Melrose and Arlington, but I like to stay up here. I was at the meeting on May 8th talking about my pathway to becoming an IBCLC, and I'm just here to recap. And I was invited by Rachel and Jenny, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Thank you. And I'll be facilitating a little bit. This is Rachel Sullivan on the line from Vital Village, working with the Boston Breastfeeding Coalition, and excited to be connecting with IBCLCs in the hopes that we will be having more very soon, at some point soon enough in the process, and getting people support on their different journeys. And happy to have this stored in our archives to go back to for people to watch as they go through the process. So I think maybe if you could do if you want to either go through the notes from the May 8th meeting or talk a little bit about what came up there, do a more in-depth bio that I know you talked about on May 8th. I think that would be great for folks that didn't get the chance to join us that day.
Yeah. Sorry, did somebody have a question?
Oh, sure. I think that someone might have joined on the line.
Yes, this is Joyce. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Joyce. How are you? Hi.
I'm good, thanks. Hello.
Yeah, we just were doing some introductions. So if you don't mind doing a quick introduction, we are recording this just so that people know who's with us today.
Sure. Okay. My name is Joyce Clark, and I'm one of the scholars, newly arrived, and I am also the health chair for the NAACP. So by way of that, I found my way to the Vital Village and the scholar support.
Nice. Thanks for
coming.
Both
of you have done work as a doula, just to say.
Oh, sorry. That's like commonplace to me. I'm so sorry. Yes, and I am a doula since '98.
Yeah. I am not working as a doula anymore. I'm focusing more on lactation and midwifery. But yes, I did doula for quite some time.
Very nice.
So I think, Rachel, we were going to start going over my notes. I was going to give, I guess, a quick rundown.
That would be great.
And then talk about the path that I took, I guess.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. All right, so to become an IBCLC, there are 3 different pathways. Pathway 1 is for healthcare providers or peer counselors, which I think would be the pathway that most people in this group would be going for. Pathway 2 is through an approved college education. So there are specific programs. I know there's UCSD, San Diego and California has one, and then one of the scholars is part of, I think it's Union. Yeah, Union Institute is another one. So that one is a college degree that you then have to do like an internship for. And then pathway 3, I'm trying to think, pathway 3 is mentorship. So you would have to have a specific mentor in mind that's qualified to help you. So looking at my notes.
But Carrie, you said most people go through pathway 1, right?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Definitely. 2 is not as common because it can be expensive. You have to get the degree as part of it. And then number 3, especially in Massachusetts, number 3 is pretty rare because it's very hard to find a mentor. Without being a nurse, being able to be in a hospital, it's hard to find a mentor that'll give you enough hours. So, so pathway 1 is usually where people go. So regardless of what pathway you take, and I have notes that I sent out to Rachel that she can forward to anybody, or I think you already did forward. So there's 14 classes that you have to take that are not optional. 8 of them are college courses, and 6 of them are additional things. So anatomy and physiology, and biology, And then infant and child growth and development, clinical research or stats, nutrition, psych, and sociology. And then there's the additional courses that you can take online, all 6 of those. There's some places where you can take all 6 for $100, which is great.
Huh?
And then I'm scrolling down on my on my notes. I had some notes about the college courses. So I have an undergraduate degree in sociology, public health, and epidemiology. So I had 11 of the courses done already from my undergrad. I think it was 11. I think.
But Kira, are we the only ones on the phone? Am I the only one on the phone with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can monopolize your time?
Yeah, we have one other scholar. I believe she's listening in.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess what I'm curious about is your undergrad didn't sound like it was in biology and things of that sort.
Yeah.
So, like for myself, I have an undergrad in psychology, and like all my classes are in like English, math, family and communities, and psychology, 101, abnormal psychology. So those don't sound like they would be anything that would allow me to do what you did. Do you find that to be true?
No, you'd be surprised. Actually, given your background, I would say anatomy, physiology, and biology might be all you would have to do. And there are courses, for example, I had already had a biology course because I really liked biology of the brain we had in our campus, and I did what did I do? The brain and drugs, and a couple of other bio classes. But I took a class at community college here to make sure that I got all of them covered, and it covered anatomy, physiology, and biology in one class.
And what's the name of that program again?
It's up at North Shore Community College. It was
I'm sorry, say it again.
North Shore Community College. But
North Shore Community.
Yeah, but at any community college, if you are careful in your course choices, you can usually knock out more than one category with one course. You just have to be really careful. Mine was, what was mine? It was the body in health and disease, I think was what it was called. And it was a biology class, but it covered anatomy and physiology at the same time.
Okay.
I was able to use the one class. But I think you'd have sociology, psychology, clinical research, you had to have taken stats, infant and child growth, and then maybe you'd have to take a nutrition course too. But you could probably do it with 2 classes.
And I think Halima, who should be on the call also, she's taking some at Bunker Hill Community College, I believe.
Right. Okay. All right, I got it. Because I remember that we also talked about this the last time, so I believe I wrote down all the notes for it as well, and like where to go and how you can apply these courses you've already taken. So
yeah.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a shame because the organization that gives the exam, they used to have a program, they used to have a thing where you could send in courses that you were interested in, like the course name and the description, and they could tell you, yes, that will count, or no, that's not appropriate. And they don't do it anymore. They don't do that anymore. So you have to kind of, I don't want to say guess. You can talk to people who have already done it, like me, but you have to be a lot more careful in your choices, I think, since you don't get the thumbs up anymore. But let's see.
So Halima has a question about the college courses.
Yep, I see it.
That she just chatted to me.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, you see it. Great.
Yeah, I see it. So human bio, A&P, and microbiome. Yeah, so you would have had anatomy, physiology, and biology taken off for those 3. For sure. Yeah. Funny enough, human biology might have qualified you to do all 3 of them at one time, but you're definitely fine. You can use A&P and human biology, and you'll be fine. Yeah. So let's see. I had written down in my notes that, like way down on this second page, that getting the college courses and getting the clinical hours are the 2 big roadblocks for people, and cost of college courses and time constraints are really difficult. So there are courses that you can take online, and they are self-paced. And then there are courses you can take, community courses online, which are not self-paced. You have to, turn in your work every week, but you never have to step foot in a classroom. And if you are doing an exam, they're usually very good about the timing. They'll do it from like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. They'll have a 12-hour period where you can take the exam. So if you're working, that usually will give you enough time. And then there's study.com. There was a person who did, I think it was 5 of the classes on study.com within, I think, 4 or 5 months, which she did not recommend, but it was doable. She did it. And that can be helpful if you have all your clinical hours and you have all your additional courses and you're just missing some college courses and you don't want to wait a whole entire other year to take your exam. You can smush them all in really fast if you have a lot of drive and determination. You can do that as well. Yeah.
That sounds like a lot.
It is something that I definitely wouldn't recommend. However, I do understand the frustration. I applied for, here's the frustration. The application deadlines are at the most ridiculous time. So to apply for April's exam, you have to apply by November. The problem with that is that if you're taking a course, it's not going to be done until December. So you can't apply for April. You have to apply for the next October. And that's very frustrating to be. This was my problem. I was 3 weeks away from finishing a course, and I wanted to apply for April, but I couldn't. I had to wait nearly a whole entire year. So I think that's why people do that, because they want to just get their test over with and they want to get working.
Right.
So, as I said, I wouldn't suggest it, but I do understand why, for sure. Sorry if there's noise. My younger children are actually gone, but my older 2 are upstairs having fun with one another, also known as arguing back and forth. So I apologize.
That's okay, they're entitled.
They love each other until they just don't love each other anymore.
Completely understandable.
Okay. So any questions about that, Rachel or Joyce or Halima?
No, I don't have any questions. So it's good information. I don't have any questions.
I just wanted to make sure I heard you right. The application for community college then is usually
no. It was
like
the
a whole year before. Or,
the application to take the exam. The application to take the exam. So yeah, don't quote me on the exact months, but I do know for the April exam that it was November. And that was very frustrating because if you were in the middle of a class, my particular class ended 2 weeks after the application deadline.
And you cannot sign up everything's complete.
It has to be completely done so that you have it on a transcript. It was frustrating. The class that I was in, I could have literally skipped the final exam and still passed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a 99 in the class, but yeah, so I had to wait. Everything has to be completely done. So that's that. What else? College courses. And then, oh, that's right, the 90-hour program. So you do your college courses and the 6 additional medical terminology and such. And then you have to do a 90-hour lactation-specific education. So what this means is if you're a nurse or another type of health professional, even a psychologist, like there's plenty of other health professions where you have to do continuing education credits. And if you're a nurse, especially if you're in labor and delivery or in postpartum, a lot of the conferences and talks and things like that that you go to can count towards these 90 hours. They have to be breastfeeding specific, but you know, if somebody comes to town and they're doing a talk at a hospital, you can sometimes go in and audit it and get a certificate to kind of patch together hours. But the easiest thing.
What? Oh, yeah. It's picking up her. He's using the.
Sorry, Joyce, did you have a question?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had you on mute. No, I think I'm good.
That's okay. So the easiest thing to do would be one of the 90-hour programs that are online. That's frankly the easiest way. It's not an easy thing to do, but that's the, I mean, I guess I don't want to say it's the easiest thing to do. It's not. It's a difficult program, but it's easier to get all the 90 hours from one place instead of trying to piecemeal them from different programs. So I did lactation education resources. I think it's lactationtraining.com or org.
Your notes say .com.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be .org, but if I put .com, I probably checked it before I put it down. So I went through them. I actually got a scholarship from them. I didn't pay a dime to do my 90 hours, which was great because it was $900 or something. And I was lucky. I had a friend, they had posted on Facebook, but I was not following them. And a friend who's an IBCLC across the country saw that they posted a scholarship thing and sent it to me, and I applied and got it. So if you follow them on Facebook, I'm pretty sure yeah, it is .com. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure
So
that they.
I'm sorry, Kara. I was just going to say, it's lactationeducationresource.com, right?
Lactationtraining.com. Lactation Education Resources is the company, and it's lactationtraining.com.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I pulled it up just to see what it was. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did here.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you got a scholarship. That's a yearly opportunity.
It was really awesome. And you know what? That I had background already because I was a certified lactation educator and a La Leche leader for years. So I had a lot of background and I still learned a ton. It's the, if you go to course directory, because I'm watching what you're doing on the left-hand side, under online courses, and then course directory, if you were to click on that.
Sorry, I have something blocking me.
Thank you.
Course directory, right here.
All the way on the left, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go down a little bit, it'll be under lactation training. Yeah, it's under lactation training, yeah. And they should only have training program 4, enriched phase 1. Oh, they've changed it a little bit. Hold on.
It's at the top on the left-hand side, lactation training. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, but they changed it a little bit. Now they have, oh, or break the 90-hour course. Okay, I guess they have two different things. The one on the left is the one that I did.
Okay.
Yeah. That one on the right is something new. I don't know what that is.
I mean, that's kind of great, though, that they took the 90 hours and, you know, cut it into 2 so you don't lose out on any training or anything as well.
Yeah, and this program is all online, and it's, I think it might be, I could be confusing it with something else because I've done a lot of online stuff, but I think it was about 15 different modules, and it was videos of somebody talking with a lot of PowerPoint, really, really in depth, and like really in depth, and it was wonderful. And I also, yeah, that's it. That's the one. I also did their exam review as well. Once I qualified to take it, I did their
exam. That's cool. So you tested yourself before you actually took the exam?
Yeah, their exam review is really, really good. Like, I took a couple of other ones, but theirs is the one that was closest to the exam. Yeah, it's a really good resource.
So you felt like you learned a lot from that. So that is good, because I usually find things online that cover your hours, but also have educational value.
Yeah. I mean, they were really specific. Preemies, NICU, special cases, regular course of breastfeeding, biology and pharmaceuticals, just really, really in depth. So I definitely recommend them. I didn't do any of the other programs, so I can't say, but I know that a lot of people have done the one I did and are very happy with it.
And one thing too that we have been trying to do some more research on for our scholars are what types of trainings that we've offered, or scholar support meetings that are run by IBCLCs, what hours of those would count for them. So things like the ROSE training that we had back in February, that was 2 full days of ROSE facilitation where they definitely got a certificate for completing that. And then we did some training on our own that Jenny, our IBCLC, who works with us on a lot of projects, she was there, and so Dominique was also facilitating as a CLC, so those hours would probably start counting for things as well.
Yeah, I think in order for it, that might count for the clinical hours. The meetings might count for the clinical hours. I think if you could get, I know the CLC training counts within the 90 hours of specific education, that counts for 45. If you guys could get the ROSE training to count, which would be amazing, that would probably count for, it's 2 days, probably a 20 hour.
Yeah.
At least 20 hours, yeah. Yeah, that would be.
That's a lot of hours.
yeah, I mean, that's wonderful. That's a good chunk. So yeah. So college courses and the 90 hours. Do we have questions on either of those before I move on?
How much would you say, Kira, from you taking the online courses?
Yeah.
Do you think you spent out of pocket?
So I didn't pay for my 90 hour. As a CLE, which was, I said this at the meeting, I hate the word lesser credential because it sounds really snobby, and I really hate that. So a non-IBCLC credential, I'll put it that way, because we're all important. I had 20 hours in that, but I got a scholarship for that as well. So I didn't pay for any of my hours. And the only thing that I paid above and beyond my wonderful college debt was just for the 2 classes. Did I take 3? I took 3 classes last fall. So I took a bio class that covered anatomy, physiology, and bio. I had to take a nutrition class. And then I picked a psychology class that would cover more than one area. I had taken psychology before.
Right.
I hadn't taken anything that would go for the infant and child development one.
Right.
So I just took a psychology course that was specific to, it was developmental psych.
So how did you know how did you know to compare those things to find out that it would be covered?
Yeah, so IBLCE, which are the people that give the exam, they have
Right.
a document that talks about each course and what each course would say. So they'll say a biology course, this course could be one of these things. So introduction to biology, microbiology, those types of things. And then at the end of each section, it will say, you know, if you were to take a class called human biology that has anatomy and physiology in the course description, it would cover anatomy, physiology, biology. Then they say something like psychology, intro to psychology, whatever other deviants, whatever other ones. And at the end it says, if you take developmental psychology or psychology that covers early childhood, you know, from infancy to early childhood, you can also use that for infant child growth and development. So it's a very specific document. It still leaves you with questions. I mean, nothing's perfect, but it is helpful. Rachel,
but it gives you, it gives you an idea. So that's great. Do
you have that document, Rachel? I'm looking on my computer right now. Let me see.
So I'm just pulling up at least the IBLCE website for us to just show. So I'll do that. But it's not on the specific about the college.
I'll tell you what it's called. I'm sure I have it. Hold on.
Yeah. So here's the IBLCE website on the screen, and I pulled up the pathway 1, and then I think that we'll be able to get it from there. So this is really easy to get to from another document.
It's called their Health Sciences Education Guide. Health Sciences Education Guide. So I think, maybe that might be it. Is that it?
I think so.
Get through a couple of pages just so I can see. I think that might be it.
Oh, it's long.
That just tells you what it is.
So just to take so you guys are on the IBLCE.org, right?
Yeah, that is it. That's the document. Okay. That is the document. You can see how it gives you different ideas of what type of biology would count. And right above it, it says, go down. Yep.
But I lost you guys. I lost where you guys were. So Rachel, what did you do once you got in there?
So I got here from the document that I sent out to you all via email, called Which IBLCE Pathway is Right for Me, and those are linked to the different pathways. So that's how I got there originally. I don't know from the homepage, but once you see what pathway 1 is, there's a link to the 14 health science subjects.
Yeah.
And that's what the document is. So if you scroll down to page 5, you'll see like biology, candidates are expected to complete an introductory course, and here is what it should include. That's the type of information this document has. That is really helpful, I think, because the last thing that you want to do is pay for a science course that doesn't fit the description.
If you are on their main, website, IBLC.org, on the menu,
I'm at the pathway 1.
Yeah, if you were to go to IBCLC certification and then prepare for IBCLC certification, step 1, then it would say Health Sciences Education. You can click on that.
Oh,
and that should kick you right to it, I think. Yep.
Okay, I got it. I got it now.
So the Health Science Education Guide. Specific. It's really helpful. Now, Rachel, should I talk about the other roadblock, which is the clinical hours?
Yeah, so someone who had come to our last meeting on May 8th, she was specifically doing a program to get all of these these college courses. It was like maternal lactation or maternal health and lactation was the name of the program. So she had all of this background in it, and even she couldn't get the clinical hours, figure out how to get the clinical hours. So I think it's an important roadblock to talk about for sure.
So for that specific woman, I need to send you an email. I talked to my colleagues, and one of them had actually gone through the same program. It had been a while, so it's been like reformatted since she took it. But she gave me some ideas on how to get the 300 hours. And people also said that Baby Cafe, which I found funny because I'm like, Jenny should know this, but I don't know if anybody ever told her, can count. If an IBCLC is there, it can count as clinical hours.
Yeah,
wow.
I think that is a big challenge, is that nobody shares that openly. Like even IBCLC, it doesn't say that on their website.
No. Yeah, no. So most people will go through Pathway 1 because support counselors like yourselves and like me, I was the Leche League leader. So we'll quickly talk about the other two paths. Pathway 2 is the one that's difficult to get the directly supervised hours, is in Massachusetts proving to be pretty difficult right now. Pathway 3 as well, mentorship is, I feel like Pathway 3 might be more attainable than 2, but Pathway 1's the most attainable. So I became a La Leche League leader, and I'm looking for that thing that says, what is that? They have a scope of pathways. Hold on a second. They have a thing that lists what organizations you can use. Here it goes. So I know La Leche League is one. Breastfeeding USA is another. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, there's Baby Cafe. There's a bunch of them that you can do. And I did La Leche League.
What's that document called, Kira, that you're looking at?
I found it. It was really, really difficult to find. If you're back at the web page, that was the step 1, prepare to be an IBCLC.
Right.
Click on where it says Pathway 1. You scroll all the way down, of course. Right in the middle, it says Recognized Breastfeeding Support Counselor Organization list. So it says if you are paid or a volunteer for a specific organization that is listed, you may earn clinical hours in the following way. So I'm going to click on this so I can tell you who that would be relevant to us. So Leche League International. Oh, of course, BACE, Boston Area Childbirth Educators, I think is the acronym for it.
Yeah.
Nursing Mothers Counselor, Lorenzo Holt, BACE. So that one's very local. It's in Boston. Let's see, Breastfeeding USA. I don't know if there's any chapters here in Massachusetts, but
I'm not sure.
Be the first if you want to be.
And I know that Jenny has long been wanting to open a chocolate milk cafe, and I see that on.
And that's on there too. Yeah. Yeah. So there's
so Kira, the list you have, is that something you can give to Rachel so maybe she can scan it and send it to all of us?
Yeah, I have Rachel, do you have the link that you have the link up right now.
I just pulled up the link, so I can definitely do that, Joyce, no problem.
All right,
okay,
so you'll do
thank
that.
you.
So I did La Leche League leadership, and you earn a flat rate a year. So you earn 500 hours per year if you are a peer counselor in one of these organizations and you do in-person support. It's 500 hours a year. If you do mostly email or calls, not face-to-face, you can get 250 hours a year. I said to Jenny, and I think this would be fantastic if we could, depending on how Vital Village is set up, whether they're a non-for-profit, like how your financials are set up, you have to be set up a certain way to qualify, but it would be wonderful if we could have Vital Village be qualified as one of these organizations, because then you could get 500 hours a year just doing what you do. So I think I might be able to help with that. Calling IBCLC is very difficult, but I feel like, I'll talk to Jenny, I feel like I might be able to persuade them to make it a recognized organization, especially since they're trying to diversify the field. I could use that as a kind of like a bargaining point with them, and that would be wonderful for you guys. So, yeah.
And you can get those hours. You said it was if you're a leader or a peer counselor.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't have to have like a CLC or anything like that already.
Nope.
And
it's
that
just
would be 500 hours for the year.
per year in person. 250 hours. Yeah, if it's email or phone.
Wow, yeah, that would be amazing.
So becoming I'll talk from La Leche League perspective, because that's what I know. Becoming a La Leche League leader can take 6 months to a year to become a leader. So you have that time while you're becoming a leader that doesn't count, unfortunately. But during that time, you could be taking your college courses or your lactation specific 90-hour stuff. Then when you become a leader, it starts from that point onwards. And it's for full years. So, if you became a leader in April, it would be April to April is your 500 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the 2 years to get 1,000 hours.
That's still pretty good, I feel. 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just has to be one organization that meets their criteria. It says that the organization must provide a structured training program, code of ethics or professional conduct, a structured supervision, and continuing education. I think Vital Village has all except for continuing education program, I think. So
yeah, and I'm not sure what the qualifications for the continuing education program would be. Would that be like literal CEs or CUs or whatever they're called?
Yeah, I mean, for La Leche League, like, as I said, I'll talk to La Leche. La Leche League has a structured training program. I'm looking at their little sheet that says what the organization has to have. So, structured training program for counselors, La Leche has that. You have to go through a whole entire thing to become a leader. It's studying, you have to read a book, you have to do scenarios, role play. Code of ethics or professional conduct, I'm pretty sure Vital Village has that. You're running a group. And then structured supervision for counselors with an appropriate level of training. So what that means is that if you have a leader from an organization doing a group, there just has to be another leader watching, like, with them. Not directly in the same room, you can lead alone, but the group has to have more than one leader. And then continuing education program for La Leche, it was just we had a yearly conference and you had to show up. That was kind of it.
And did
because the kids had CEUs and talks in it. So, but yeah.
So that might be the only part that we have to look into, is if that's a required piece, because I think that we could maybe structure the format of how we do our scholar support meetings to be something that could be considered continuing education. I think it's valuable for us to have the meetings where we just talk about what it takes to be an IBCLC and like what people are struggling with and questions, but to have we've had educational scholar support meetings before where we just talk about improper latch, for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll talk to Jenny about that and see what she says, but I think I could at least try. I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you never know unless you try.
This is true. Won't be any worse off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they could say no.
Right, right.
Oh, say I'll look into that. What else? What else, Rachel? Those are the big.
Those
the
are
three.
definitely the biggies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and look at your notes and make sure that we talked about everything on this sheet that people have, so that they know what it's about.
Yeah, we talked about online college courses. I wrote a note about how you can take one class from multiple areas. Yeah, okay. Let me see.
And these are other low cost options.
And these options that I have written down here, I didn't personally take them, but I'm in Facebook groups with people who took them and used their certificates to qualify for the exam.
Okay.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
So you know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and then the one other thing I did share with the group, I think that these Facebook groups that you have on your notes page are a great resource if folks on Facebook, because people ask a lot of questions that you might already have.
Yeah. And you can search, like, I mean, I'm already in IBCLC, but I went into that group to search for the online college courses to give you guys some ideas. I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah. So those are really great too. I think that was the only other thing. And then your contact information, your email address is here at the top. So I think if you feel comfortable with people reaching out to you, I think that you're another great resource.
Of course, anytime.
I have a couple of questions before you go. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so really just two things. One is with all the information, with all the changes that take place, right, that have to do with, I don't know, just the different drugs that people are taking now and breast milk and just all, where's your primary source come from? Like, do you check out a few different things, like maybe on Facebook or with other people? Or like, so just, I guess, with all the abundance of information, what's your primary resource?
My primary resource for clinical practice is LACTNet. So LACTNET, like lactation net, LACTNet. LACTNet is online. It's a little awkward to try to Google. I've actually tried to Google it. It's really, really awkward to actually get to the page that you want to be at. But this is an online forum that people have asked really specific clinical questions. So you can use the search bar, and I use it all the time. Like, I had a mother who had hypothyroidism, and she was on the medication she was supposed to be on, and I still felt like there was something there with her endocrine panel, with her hormone panel, that was not quite right, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So I went to LACTNet and I searched and found a blood test panel that somebody very, very well known had recommended, and I gave that to my client, and ended up being what we needed. So LACTNet is fantastic. And then there is one on Facebook, which used to be called LACTNet, but they changed it to LACT World. So LACT World is what they changed that one to. And that one's a good resource too, but I find LACTNet much more professional. Much more professional. Because when people get on Facebook, they kind of lose their manners. So
this is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you said lactnet.org, right?
Yeah, you know what? It's not. Let me look it up. It's called LACTNet. I have it saved on my tablet. Hold on. Yeah. As I said, it's really hard to get to. Let me see. Web archive interface. I think this is it. Okay, so they couldn't make it more difficult if they tried. So you have to Google LactNet. Very, very difficult. Yeah, so Google the word LactNet. The very first result is what you're going to click on. It's LactNet listserv is what it is. LactNet listserv. LactNet listserv. And then there's one more step. When you get to that web page, you're going to click on where it says Web Archive Interface. That takes you to where you want to be.
You should just save it as a bookmark.
Yeah, because it's seriously ridiculous. It's community.lsoft.com/a billion different things, but it's saved on my computer and the link is way too long to say out loud. So that's how you can get to it. And you can just search on the right-hand side. Yeah, you can go and see how ridiculous it is. So the first one, they couldn't make it. Yeah, and then web archive interface down the bottom, kind of the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is it. So the latest messages are things that have come up this week. There's archives from every week, but the easiest thing to do is go to the right-hand side and just search for what you want. And it will come up with a billion threads. I mean, like thyroid, yeah. But it's very specific, so you might just want to type thyroid. But yeah, I mean, everything will come up.
Okay.
And they're very clinical cases. Like I have a mother whose, levels are XYZ and such is happening. So really good resource.
Yeah.
And these are well-known names like Allison Hazelbaker's on here and Catherine Watson Jenna's on here and Dr. Oh my gosh, I know Dr. Hale, the guy who does medications and mother's milk. He writes the book about medications. He's on LactNet sometimes too, so.
Dr. Knight?
Dr. Hale.
Oh,
H-A-L-E. Yeah, he does the book all about medications and breastfeeding, and he's on LactNet sometimes. So, yeah, really
Rachel,
good.
you found the LactNet?
I did. Would you like me to send out the link?
Using the
Yes,
ridiculous
please.
steps, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not fine. I'm lost. I'm just giving up.
So obnoxious, yeah.
I will send out all of the notes from our conversation today for sure.
Yes.
And did you have any other questions?
I'm all set. But thank you for being available, Kira. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime that I can, I'm here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think that we can just kind of wrap up from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, let me know if you need anything. My email's
I
always
will.
there.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Rachel, thank you very much for putting it together.
Yeah, of course.
All right. I will talk with you ladies soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, Rachel. You good?
Bye. Thank you again. Yeah.
No problem. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.